What's up, guys? My name's KhaoticK, back at you guys with a little one today. We're coming at you with a new substance review. And in this one, we're going to be reviewing Flubromazepam, as you can see by the title. And this one's pretty interesting. You know, it does have a long half-life, so be advised. Definitely do not ever take this one, okay? I don't want you guys getting into a lot of trouble, because it can happen. So you're going to want to watch out for that, okay? Definitely very similar to the other long-acting azelaic benzos, the triazolo benzos. But yeah, so we're going to be going over this here. Hope you guys are staying high, stay lifted. And let's get right into the video. So, Flubromazepam, this was pretty interesting. It was first synthesized in the 1960s, and it was developed, you know, probably for something, you know, in the future. I guess it was just synthesized, though, and they pretty much shelved it. They really didn't do much. They probably did some studies. There might be some studies on that, but there is enough information to establish a dosage range on like PSYCHOACTIVE Wiki, for instance. So I took around 8 milligrams of Flubromazepam, and yeah, it took about like an hour and a half to take full effect, not up to like 2 hours like some other diazepam analogs. And in this one, it felt very similar to norflorazepam, also very similar to diazepam even. Bromo, nordiazepam, all of those. All very similar to Flubromazepam. But this one had a lot more of an anxiety-reducing effect. I like that. I thoroughly enjoyed that anxiety-reducing effect. And it'd be a very good taper drug as well. So tapering with this would be similar to other longer-acting benzos. But the main effect there would be the half-life. So that does kind of keep your brain from withdrawing. However, you know, don't be abusing this chemical here, because if you do, the withdrawals are probably going to be worse. You're going to have a longer withdrawal. You're basically going to have a lot longer of a pause syndrome, post-acute withdrawal syndrome, except it's not going to be very acute at that point. It's going to be very long. So yeah, watch out for that. But Flubromazepam, it could be good for sleep. It could be good for reducing a bad trip to almost nothing. It could be very good for like an acid trip, as this one does last pretty long, and it would probably pretty much kill the acid. Yeah. Flubromazepam, definitely an interesting compound. I would be a fan of it if it weren't for, you know, the sedation and the long-acting, you know, just effect. You know, I just can't be that fucked up on shit anymore, bro. You definitely got to keep it clean. You know, you want to keep your life structured in a similar way. So definitely watch out for that. Don't be abusing this stuff. Again, I'm going to say that in every single benzo review video. Do not give a shit. You know, I just don't want you guys becoming addicted to this, as unfortunately I did for a brief moment. Yeah, it was brief enough, honestly. Maybe only about 2 years of use. I mean, not very brief, but in the grand scheme of things, yeah, that was a pretty brief moment in my life. And no, bro, it looks like you're a zombie. You know, it makes you look dead in the eyes. Makes you look like a zombie, bro. Unless you counteract it with enough stimulants. But that's a whole other addiction waiting to happen, bro. That's polydrug use. Polysubstance addiction, actually. Watch out for that stuff, by the way. So, but yeah, Flubromazepam, yeah, I don't know what it converts into in the liver. You know, it probably has its own metabolites. Norflorazepam probably could be one, I would say, right off the bat. And, you know, it was developed in the 1960s, like I said. It was never marketed, probably because of that long half-life, probably because there's already other licensed and, you know, pharmaceutically manufactured medications that had previous studies. And, boy, I'm glad they didn't, because that would just be one more benzo to worry about. You know, we have clonazepam already, and, you know, Xanax, alprazolam, and we don't really need more, bro. We don't need these benzo RCs. And unfortunately, they are synthesized to get around the benzo bans, right? The benzo RC bans as well. But also, yeah, it's also for people that have legit anxiety, bro, because this is the effect that it has on our society. This society is now built around bullshit, like social media and technology, and it's too much, and we're expanding faster than our consciousness can handle. I don't even want to get into it. That's a whole another video, bro. But like, anyways, you get what I'm saying. You know, it's not very hard to find out why people are abusing these substances. So again, yeah, it is what it is, man, and it's a tough world. We all try to survive it. But yeah, so I'm sure it was synthesized, you know, to try to numb pain, I guess, anxiety wise. Also, it's very good, yeah, like to numb. It's a very good muscle relaxant to numb pain. I like that about it as well. Calming, you can definitely fall asleep. I had a pretty interesting dream on it as well. Benzos don't tend to really give sleep, so, but yeah, they kind of shut off your REM sleep, which I'm not a fan of. So that's also why I don't do benzos anymore, bro, because they make you retarded, bro. I can't stress that enough. And I can tell because when I go back to them, maybe it's because these are the long-acting ones, but when I go back to benzos, man, it's just not the same anymore. It's fucked, actually, dude. Like, I get retarded, dude. Like, I don't like this shit anymore. I really don't. And you don't want to be retarded. Who the fuck would want to be retarded? Not me. Not me when I'm trying to do something in my life and stay at that, because inaction creates, you know, these things where you're so bored, you kind of want to do stuff like this. And some people might get into it later than others, right? But definitely don't get into it younger. That's all I gotta say. Your brain is developing. Your chances of addiction are that much higher. Like, you don't want to be doing benzos. They're really bad, bro. But yeah, yada yada. Flubromazepam, I would give it a 8 out of 10. Also, there really was no euphoria with this one, and nor flurazepam. Like, they don't really have euphoria at all. Straight anxiety reduction, straight sedation. They're not hypnotic, or I guess they could be in higher doses. But in a normal dose, it's not hypnotic. It's really just not too, I don't know. It's a little more functional. It's not too like sedating and hypnotic, and you're like falling all over the place. And obviously, you could. I mean, if you take a large enough of a dose, you definitely could be. Yeah, you would want to avoid that as much as possible, bro. Because if you don't, yeah, there's no telling what could happen, bro. So yeah, just watch out for that shit. But yeah, with flubromazepam, this one's pretty interesting. I would find this probably more rare than the other benzo RCs that I've ever done before, because it took me all of this time just to find this one finally. And I never see it listed anywhere. Like, it's just really obscure shit. So this is gonna go straight into the stash. I'm gonna save this for a rainy day or something, bro. So I'm gonna save this shit for when the world's ending or something like that. Nah, bro. But I have way too many benzo RCs now. Oh man, I'm just collecting at this point. There's a weird like OCD thing with that. That's pretty funny. But yeah, I'm just kind of collecting at this point, you know, and experimenting. So that's always fun. But yeah, so very interesting compound. Would I ever take it again? Would I take it for anxiety reduction? Maybe for panic attacks? Would I say it's useful for panic attacks? I don't know. I really don't think it's useful for panic attacks at all. I would say you definitely have to be very careful there. Don't be abusing it. And if you're looking for panic attacks, I mean, if you're looking for panic attack relief, definitely go to a doctor first. Don't be using these, bro. I mean, just don't, okay? What if it just doesn't stop the panic attack? Then you might have to break the ice with your doctor anyway and say, hey, I've been taking this, because they're probably going to want to prescribe you something similar. But definitely go that route first, because those are licensed professionals, most and foremost. So yeah, just watch out for that, okay? And watch out for the right doctor as well. Don't want to be in the horror story of the wrong doctor. That is not very good for you. But anyways, yeah, so flubromazepam, it gets the okay from me and an 8 out of 10. And yeah, just really, I wouldn't rank it any higher than that or any lower. It has its uses, I guess. I am not a fan of the half-life, though. Be prepared to feel it probably for up to 2 or 3 days, if it's your first time doing a benzo especially. And yeah, so be on the lookout for flubromazepam. I mean, they could always sneak this into something as well. Watch out for what you're buying benzo-wise. Okay, I mean, you never know. There's so many RCs, bro, and they all feel really, really similar. Although they do have some distinct effects. Like Atisalam feels like itself versus Annex. That's one example. They're very similar, but they definitely feel different. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So watch out for, you know, contamination, or if people are trying to sell it off as something else. Because a lot of these benzo RCs, man, they have a half-life that is long. I mean, you gotta watch out, man. I don't want you bar-tarded the next day still. Probably get caught up. That's the baddest shit that could happen to you. I mean, obviously. But worse, I mean, what if you're operating like a vehicle or machinery and you're still fucked up and you need to do something? That's where it's dangerous. So watch out. Check on your setting. Definitely make sure that you are, you know, taking it in the right place, in the right mind, not trying to escape your mind. And that's probably the majority of the use of it. But hey, just keep it to a low use. All right. But anyways, I hope you guys are staying high, stay lifted. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.